This is our fifth and final video journal, marking one of the most memorable parts of our trip, the WA coast. In this video, we travel from Broome all the way down to the south coast of WA and then eventually make our way back across the east coast, where we are settling back into normal life. After leaving Broome, our next destination was 80 Mile Beach, which is a huge flat beach that has four-wheel drive access. It's known for its shell collecting and monster threadfin salmon fishing. We made a quick stop and resupply in Port Hedland, which it turns out is the largest bulk minerals export port in the world. And with the amount of trucks and ships we saw, I can believe it. From here, we started heading south towards the renowned Karijini National Park. In a word, Karijini was spectacular. Huge deep canyons and some of the coolest swimming holes we've ever been to, such as the very well known Kermit's Pool. After a few days exploring Karijini, we started the drive west towards Exmouth and Ningaloo Reef. We really can't do this place justice. If you love the ocean, this is a must-see place. We experienced all sorts of wildlife, with the humpback whale swim and Sarah's pier dive definitely taking the cake. We have never seen such beautiful coral reef literally within a stone's throw of a sandy beach. Do yourself a favour and go check this place out. This is our camp on the beach and on Ningaloo Station. You can see it's a pretty good camp. And up here is the water. Not too shabby. The next big stop was the aptly named Shark Bay. From a certain lookout, we spotted dozens of small sharks cruising the clear, shallow waters. The first main lagoon of Shark Bay has very little tidal flow and higher rates of evaporation due to its lack of depth. This results in very high salinity, meaning not much can live here. However, it's here that we got a close look at stromatolites.
Fuck it, keep on going. You can bring it, just I'm not you. Yeah, you mix it, part of potion.
After a windy couple of days in Shark Bay, we continued south and came to a huge pink lagoon. Algae is the cause of the pink water colour, and the contrast between the blue ocean and the pink water is pretty cool. This place takes the prize for the most amusing sign of the trip. We checked out a few more places along the coast, but our next main stop was the Big Smoke, Perth. We spent a bit of time in Perth, house sitting, working and exploring, and we now have a bit of a soft spot for this big little city, and we will hopefully get back there again one day. One of the big tourist attractions near Perth is Rottnest Island, and once we checked it out we knew why. Quokkas, quokkas and more quokkas. These cute little animals are a big attraction, but you have to watch the cheeky buggers as all they really want is your food. The beaches and bays around the island are pristine, with some of the best water visibility we've come across, which was great for snorkeling. There's a colony of sea lions that call Rottnest home, and by the looks of things they weren't going anywhere in a hurry. A lot closer to the mainland there's an island called Seal Island, where you can swim with wild sea lions. We paddled the 1 kilometre across to the island and got to hang out with these inquisitive guys for a while. I've never felt so slow in the water as I have while swimming with these sea lions. A few hours south of Perth is the Margaret River region, and this is one place we would love to get back to. From wine tasting to cave exploring, there is so much to do here. We checked out some of the larger caves and those things are pretty impressive. We were very fortunate to do some camping along the southern coast of WA with some friends from Perth, Sean and Hannah, who were kind enough to show us around. One of the highlights was climbing the bicentennial tree, which is 65 metres high and was originally built as a fire watch tower back in the day. This tree climb isn't one for people scared of heights though. Not a bad spot for a game of cards, you just got to make sure they don't get blown over the edge. Thanks to the bushfires closing the highway across the Nullarbor, we got to spend a few extra days here. But once the highway reopened, we knew we had to get moving as we needed to be back on the east coast for a job interview. So unfortunately we didn't get to explore places like Esperance and Cape Le Grand National Park. We are definitely going to have to go back there. The drive across the Nullarbor was long, flat and dry, but being new to us, it was a cool experience. The highway through the Nullarbor comes very close to the coastline as you near the South Australian border. So we stopped at a few lookouts to check out the Great Australian Bight, which was pretty impressive. After a few days of driving, we made it back to outback New South Wales, where the goats were out in force. Thankfully, they seemed to be smart enough to not run out in front of passing cars. A quick stop in Ningaloo to check out the Big Bogan was cool, and it wasn't too much longer until we were back into some greener country as we neared the New South Wales coast. We eventually arrived home late at night, officially ending our big lap. So it's a bit sad that we put together this final video journal as it marks the end of this unforgettable trip. The places we went, the people we met, the experiences we had will stay with us forever. Our perspective of this country has changed and grown significantly. There are far too many memories to reflect on here, so all we can say is that we are so glad we did it. We've all been recently reminded that things can very suddenly and unexpectedly change. So if you have the opportunity to do something you really want to do, you just have to do it while you can.